Hi, I'm McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we're going to talk about relationship questions. This is something I do more and more on the live stream. I'll be doing it more and more in the future. And if you want to send in your story or a relationship question, go to writemac.com, which is right there. A link will be in the description, but you can figure it out whether you want to go to Google or whatever, writemac.com. Now, just before I get started, if you're watching this episode, this live stream, I thought it'd be a good opportunity just to share some thoughts before you ask questions. Now, some people might think, oh, well, it's easy to ask questions. If you want better answers, if you want better feedback, tailored answers, don't be vague, which a lot of people do because they're kind of, well, I got this toxic girlfriend. That's general, okay? Toxic can mean 10,000 different things. Tell me why they're toxic. So, number one, be detailed. More info, the better. Some people are like, oh, maybe I'm writing too much. I would say write more. If you have a whole story to tell the story. If you want better advice, I need to know more information. I can't tell you how many times people have asked me things. I'll have to ask another question, which is fine by me when we're doing a live coaching session. Fine. If you're going to send in a question, if there's not any details to it, then it's a vague question for all men and all women. It's ridiculous. So be detailed, more info, the better. Number two, do not present a generalization, please. I did spell that wrong in the comments. That's one of those words I always spell wrong. Anyhow, do not present a generalization. Generalization would be narcissist, toxic. My girlfriend's been doing bad things. I'm not sure what to do. B's laughing right now because people will ask that, like, they're doing some really bad things right now. They're hurting me. What are the bad things? They come home late sometimes. Okay. Why do they come home late? Oh, they have a job. What's their job? I mean, the more info, the better. You want some feedback? Let me know. Presenting generalizations gets general feedback, right? So if you said something like, my girlfriend's been doing some really bad things recently, what should I do? Well, if you don't have any solutions to the problem, they're not fixing the problem, then I guess negotiations are off. Maybe you should break up. But if you told me the problems, then we can get a little deeper. Separate them. Number three, be honest about your role. So if you're presenting something as they're just the complete bad guy or bad woman, just be honest. Like, what's your role in this situation? For example, I've had people complain about, oh, my girlfriend's been in a really bad mood recently, and I just don't know why. And then I'll just break down. All right, so tell me when the mood arises. Tell me some examples. And usually it's based on something outside of the relationship. It's usually based on some family problems, some problems at work, the traffic they had to go through before they got home, right? And then you ask, well, what were you doing before they came home? I was on the couch watching TV. So you're in a totally relaxed, chill state, and they're coming out of the fire, and you're like, why are they in such a bad mood? That's something we can work through. So be honest about your role. Number four, just know there is no shame without a face and a voice to put it to. What do I mean by that? Even then, shame is just a choice. Now, what I mean by that is when you send in your question, when you send in your story, no one sees your face, no one hears your voice. So no one's going to go, oh, it's Sam Lujan. Oh my God, she's talking about her boyfriend right now. Be honest. That's one of the benefits of sending in an anonymous story or question. Right? Now, saying that, now on my live stream, I do have people come on live. I don't think it's shameful because my next part is more people can relate to what you are going through than you think. Sometimes, oh, I'm not in a normal relationship. Who told you there's normal relationships and what's your version of normal? Something you saw on TV? The Titanic? Come on. I mean, the whole thing that's different in the world now is a lot of people are just making their own rules, their own code of conduct, their own moral and values because people aren't a part of a strong nationalistic culture in most places. When they are, it's very cut and dry. This is our rules. This is what we follow. Just watched Avatar. Whether you called that a tribe, a group, a faction of people, they have this commonality. They have the same gods, the same use. Everyone looks the same. So they all follow the same rules. So there's very much a sense of what's normal within that group. If you look at it now, I don't know. Most societies don't have all that normalness. Normal just means, oh, I'm following what everyone else does, I think. But really, if you look at relationships, it's more than meets the eye, as the great Transformer said, right? Because you might see them, you might have friends that are a couple and you go, oh, they're normal, they're great, they're wonderful, they're one of the best couples I've ever seen. Have you seen them behind closed doors? Have you seen them 24/7? No, you just get a snapshot when you hang out for dinner and have drinks. So just be aware of that when these questions come up. So if you want to ask some relationship questions, go to writemac.com. Those are the things I recommend. Just a quick, be detailed. Don't present a generalization. Be honest about your role. Just know there is no shame without a face, a voice to put it to. More people can relate to what you are going through than you think. And a lot of times people will tell me, especially about their story, hey man, I think it's really good. Can you share my story so other people, if they're going through the same thing, can relate or not relate, what have you. Rob Ius, welcome. Sam Lujan, always a pleasure. Today we will have B dropping the questions. And please, in the chat, if you have a question, shoot. Go ahead, B. What's number one?
All right. Hey, coach, I broke up with my girlfriend roughly 3 months ago, and I'm regretting the decision, to be honest. I'm really regretting the decision, to be honest. I would like to reach out and try to reconnect with her, but I know she's currently dating someone else. Is it wrong for me to try?
If someone's dating someone else, it's curtains for the moment, okay? It's needy and weak. It's uncomfortable. You lose pride, dignity. Can it work? Sure. Everything has a possibility of working. I don't know the ins and outs and how much she's attracted to you or whatnot, but you went from being in a relationship monogamously, if that's a word, to let me compete for you while you're with someone else, right? So you're taking 2 steps forward or 2 steps back, right? It's not a good look. Can you repeat that question one more time?
Sure. Hey, coach, I broke up with my girlfriend roughly 3 months ago, and I'm really regretting the decision, to be honest. I would like to reach out and try to reconnect with her, but I know she's currently dating someone else. Is it wrong for me to try?
Okay, so that's what I got wrong, the first part. She's dating someone else. Mm-hmm. And he broke up with her.
Yeah.
Well, then I certainly would say, yeah, you could reach out. So I'm gonna change my stance because that's why I was telling B earlier, I'm not used to not reading it, and it is different. If she's not official, you can reach out. Just keep in mind, whatever the problems were in the breakup, are you just going to let those go now, or are those been fixed? So if the grounds for your breakup were problem-based on her end, and by the way, can you deal with the fact that you're going to have to ask her the question, have you been sleeping with this guy that you're seeing? So I would say if you do decide to knock on that door, not literally, I'm not telling you to go to the door, but if you decide to, I guess better would be punch those buttons to text in this day and age, right? I would say, just be prepared. If she says, you know what? No, I'm seeing someone right now. You say, okay, I understand. But then you might say something to the effect of, I've just come to realize that maybe we could work this out. If you want to contact me, contact me. Then leave it alone. Don't continue to call them. Don't continue to go on and on. Just let him know that the door's open. That's the way I would go about that. But if the problems aren't fixed, give yourself more time to digest. Are you just lonely right now? Or do you really want them back with all their issues that you had with them before? Saying that, people can impulsively break up over some petty stuff. And those are the times when you go, okay, I was wrong. All right, next one.
Hi, Coach Mac. I'm new to the channel, but I love the videos I've seen so far. My question is, I've been dating a guy for 4.5 months, and something that's really bothered me is he's still close with 2 of his exes and texts or talks to them on a weekly basis. Is this a red flag? I don't know everything about his previous relationships, but this just seems weird to me.
It's not weird. It's just out of line. I mean, if they're dating or they're together.
Yeah, 4 months, 4.5 months.
Dating?
Together, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have to define that. That's one of those things people say dating sometimes. And for me, dating's not official. Some other people go, oh, no, it's official. So I would need that defined.
Okay.
Because it's different. Why is he talking to his ex? Some people own a business together. Sometimes they share a dog. There can be circumstances where you can understand why. It's still not ideal. It's not good, but there are nuanced situations where you can go, now, if it's just we're good friends, now, again, it's not ideal. But if they're really just friends and they're close, you should be invited. I wouldn't say it's ideal. Like if I was in that situation on the flip side, I started dating a woman for 4 months, 5 months, and she's like, oh, I want you to meet my ex. I'd say, no, thank you. Probably. Circumstances can make it different. But in most cases, you need to know why, and is that valid for you, not me? Is that enough for you? Right? And then, is he talking about her? Are they spending time alone together? Right? Versus we work at the same company and we all went out on a group lunch. It's still not ideal. You just need more details to the situation for me to better understand that.
Yeah, like you said.
And like I said, if they're really true blue friends, why aren't you being invited? Girlfriends I've had in the past, they have situations, not with an ex. I've never been invited like, oh, I want you to meet my ex. But guys or things you should be invited. Oh, I'm going out with this group of friends. You should be invited a lot of times. Go ahead. Next one.
All right. I've been seeing this girl for about a month, and we met on a dating website. I've known her for a bit longer than that, but I would say we've gotten serious the last few weeks. I'm not lying when I say I haven't been on any dating websites since I've gotten serious with my new girlfriend. But last week, I received some emails, and they were from some members, and I just wanted to close out my account. So I loaded the page, and I swear the first profile I see is of my current girlfriend. I flipped out a bit, nothing crazy, and just broke up with her on the spot. It's been a few days, and I'm starting to think that I overreacted. I have 2 questions. 1, do you think I overreacted? And 2, if I do want to get back with her, did I blow my chances by acting this way? By the way, the reason she said for being on the site is that she sometimes just gets messages but never responds.
That's not a good reason.
No.
Sounds like she was keeping the door open. I mean, that would be my first question. What's your reason for doing that? If the answer was like, I forgot about it, it's not a great answer. But if she's a forgetful person, it might be true. Would I roll with that? No, I wouldn't like that. The fact that you still kind of had yours up too, that you were quote unquote closing out, she could probably use that against you. But bottom line is, because you're getting messages on a dating site for what? Okay. So if you were to get back together, do I think you overreacted? Not really. I mean, especially if she was the first one to come up. Your girlfriend's on a dating app, right? And you're officially together. No bueno. So if you were to get back together or to try to work things out, you just got to go, hey, right now, right here, no more dating apps. We're official. You can't be doing messages through that, right? That it's just cut and dry. That's not just a boundary. That's just a rule to be set with most couples. If she was like, well, and she keeps explaining herself, that means that she thinks that she was rightfully doing something. If she says, you know what, I'm sorry, you're right. I just kind of forgot about it, and I like the attention. Like, be honest, right? So you have to also keep in mind what kind of person you're dealing with. See, this is where something comes up where this is why trust is so important in a real relationship. Is she telling me the truth? Now, I have had girlfriends in my past or women I've dated. If they let's say they had the dating app up. I've never had that happen to me before. But their explanation would be related to their personality. So do you understand what I mean, B?
Mhm.
I'm saying that there would be different answers for that, but there would be different things where I'd be like, you know what? I believe that about you. Right? I believe that about you. If you're creatively coming up with bullshit, and a good way to realize this is people do this. They pause or they look up trying to find a story to tell you. Or the other thing liars do, instantly, impulsively make you the bad guy and flip the situation. Don't let you finish. That's not someone being combative or stubborn. It's usually a liar. Because if for example, if someone's saying something about me that I don't like, for example, if they were like, I heard you were on a dating app, what would be my answer? Who told you this? Well, my friend Karen told me. Right? Okay, so how does Karen know I'm on? I'd be asking questions. I wouldn't just sit there and go, no, I wasn't. No, I was, because I would be like, I want to know who's saying this about me because it's not true. Right? I would calmly be asking those. Maybe I'd be upset, but people that instantly change the subject or go into story or make you the bad guy, liars usually. Think about that for a minute. Mm-hmm. Because if something was being said about you, you'd want to be like, what did they say? Or what dating app did you see me on? Now, if the crazy thing about his situation, this is a guy, right? Mm-hmm. His situation is it's cut and dry. I saw you on the dating app.
Saw you.
Okay, I don't need to take a picture or anything. I just want to know your reason. And maybe she was like, oh, I still like getting messages on there. From who do you like getting messages from? You don't go on dating apps to... It's 2023. We have WhatsApp. We have 17 different platforms that you can exchange messages. It's not good enough. Come up with a better one. Really quick, C Trucker says, I'm in love with an emotionally avoidant man. He says he struggles with showing emotions and affection. He sometimes acts robotic. Okay. And seems uncomfortable to express himself. Is it worth working through it? All right. So just this whole thing, emotionally avoidant man, these are big generalization topics. And if you come on my channel before, I understand the whole avoidant thing. That's a big label to give someone. What you want to do is go, okay, what are his issues? Now, probably if you dug deeper, and this is just a possibility, if he struggles showing emotions and affection, it has nothing to do with him just being born this way. There's something that happened in his past, possibly being abused, possibly having a really bad relationship that never healed. There's something to that. There could just be a gatekeeper. It could be his parents. When I say gatekeeper, that means limited belief in my lingo, meaning maybe his parents were that way, or his caregivers were that way, or his grandparents, whoever took care of him, were that way. So you think of it as like, oh, he's emotionally avoidant. There you go. Okay, he lost his mom and never healed from it. So that's a big thing. Then there's smaller pieces to that. Well, when I was young, my mom never really showed me affection. I don't know. There's a lot of different things. He's gotten therapy who informed him it's PTSD. Okay, so that's great. He's gotten therapy on it. Is the therapy working? The number one thing, he's open to getting therapy. The second part to that, is the therapy working? So sometimes people go, oh, you just need to go to a psychiatrist, a therapist, a coach. No, you need to be picky.
Right.
No, I'm serious. Because I've had clients before where they go, oh, wow, you've really helped me. I've went to 3 other people before. Right? Mm-hmm. And there's different forms of therapy for PTSD. Right? He's trying, but it's a struggle. So what I would say is that, like I said, let's just say that you went to, because a lot of times people nowadays, and it could be good, it could be bad, they usually have insurance pays for a counselor or a therapist. And sometimes those people are overworked, or they're just not that good at their job, or they're just not the right fit. So that's the thing about therapy, is that you get individuals that, Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I could do PTSD. I could do this. I could do that. I could do that. What are they good at? I specialize in relationships and breakups. I do help my clients with other things, though. To me, two of the best things to look into would be EFT and hypnotherapy. That's what I believe in. That works very good with EFT is emotional freedom technique. There's two different things, versions of that. And it doesn't mean the therapist is bad. That therapist might be good for other people, right?
Right. It just might not be there.
I might have clients that go, oh, you know what? I like talking to this therapist about a woman's issue because you're a man. I don't know. Okay. So the fact that he's open to that, if it's not working, then those are the suggestions I make. Go for an alternative type of therapy. Don't just go with the insurance-based one because sometimes those people are overworked, and maybe they don't do as good a job. PTSD, though, I'm outgoing and friendly, and sometimes he dampens my mood because he floors further into his shell. Well, here's the thing that you always have to realize, CC Trucker. Okay? You're not trained to help people with this. This isn't your line of work, if I'm guessing, right? It's totally fine. So don't try to be. Oh, his PTSD is this. This is why I don't really like, this is not a personal shot to you. This is just personally for me. Emotionally avoidant man. You're not going to be the one to, that's a label that you've put on this guy. It's a pretty big label, right? That means that you're already setting yourself up psychologically that he has issues and you have nothing to do with the problem. The problem for you is you don't know how to handle these kinds of things with PTSD and losing a mother. Possibly you lost a mother. I don't know. I hope not. But maybe you didn't lose it in the same fashion at the same time in your life. It would be different. Right? So whenever you're in a relationship like this and someone's in therapy and you're doing your best, which isn't always the best thing to do because you just don't know. So those are some ideas that I would say. I would say try some new approaches to his PTSD and try maybe a different therapist if this isn't working or there's not a lot of headway. But him making the effort is half the battle. If he was like, oh, I don't need a therapist. Those are the ones I would say. And don't tell him that he's emotionally avoidant man. That's not your place to do. That's a big clinical term that can mean a lot of different things, and it's not nice. Okay? Even if you're like, oh, I believe that's true. It's an opinion. Focus on the problem. He lost his mom when he was young. Okay, we can go from there. Let's hear more about that. Wouldn't that be better to work on than, oh, he's an emotionally avoidant man? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now, whenever someone says, oh, someone's toxic, this is the one I can't stand. It could mean fucking 100 different things.
Yeah.
But what you don't realize, toxic people weren't born toxic. They're caregivers or some bad stuff happened to them. A lot of the people we don't like that we work with or have bad attitudes, if you knew their histories, you'd have a ton of compassion for them. Yeah, what I would say is you're not going to cure them. So if you're 47 years old, he's 49, you guys have been dating for a while and it's just not going anywhere. Maybe, you dipping out of that relationship based on the fact that you're not going to be the one to get him out of the PTSD and that you feel neglected.
3 years.
If you feel neglected with the robotic idea, it's people's, how they show and give affection is different for different people. And sometimes people take it personal, but they were just raised that way.
Yeah, you've talked about this before.
Talked about it many times. Yeah. I wasn't raised in a very affectionate family. We didn't give hugs and kisses or say I love you very often. And so when I've been in relationships, women have gone, why don't you hold hands? Why don't you say I love you? Wasn't raised that way. I have a great mom, by the way. Always was there for me. She had a very abusive father to her mother, a very strict father. And so she's just not affectionate.
The way she showed affection is just different.
Right. And it's not, my mom would, do anything for you.
Right.
So sometimes we look at it, it's like, oh, he's this, he's that. He was made that way. And it takes a long time for him to come out of that. And by you pointing it out, it doesn't make it better. But I became numb to it, but I didn't realize it was changing me. Great assessment, CC Trucker. So I'm with you on that. It'll change you because now you'll be more distant. So maybe, a couple things I could suggest. Seek out a new therapist. Maybe do couples therapy if that's possible. So you can have a referee and better understand where he's coming from, possibly. But him identifying it as PTSD in that specific area or arena, it could be more than that. And just being the fact that, he's not going to be as expressive or outgoing. Maybe you had a past relationship or your caregivers, whoever they may be, were different. So you're like, oh, why not? Why? You know what? It's never personal. People don't seek out. People like rapport. They like to get along. So I think that's a really good question. Thanks for asking that. Let me know if there's any more questions to tag on to that. Seek to understand, not to be understood. But if it's not working for you after 3 years, and there hasn't been a lot of progress, sometimes negotiations are off. Did you have one more question, B? I got about 10 minutes till my call.
Yeah, let me see.
13 on deck. Any questions? Go ahead and ask them. Relationship issues and question. What's your relationship question?
All right. Hi, Mac. I found your channel a few months ago after my last relationship ended, and I love the content. My question for you is, my ex-girlfriend sent me a message for the first time since we broke up. It was actually a very thoughtful and nice email about us and our over 2-year-long relationship and how she missed doing the things we did as a couple. It seemed in the email that she wanted to get back together without saying it, but it was pretty clear that's what she wanted. We broke up because of various things, but money was one of the major ones, as I know it is for a lot of people. Money is just really tight right now, and I don't have a lot of extra funds to go on trips and do the things I know she wants to do. So I'm pretty hesitant on getting back together right now because our major issue isn't fixed. Do you think I should hold off on getting back with her for now, or is this window going to close and I will lose that chance? What's your take?
Sometimes people, when it comes to money, they're impatient or they don't understand. Right on, CC Trucker. They're impatient, or they just don't understand.
Right.
So they might have come from a family with money, or they might have had an ex-partner that had money, and they're like, they don't understand why you can't come up with it. And unfortunate thing, unless you win the lottery, sometimes you can't just make it appear.
Switch, yeah.
Right. So if that's the problem, number one, if you know my channel, which B does now, I always say, let's get specific. Now you have a specific problem,
right, that
you could figure out. Now, if this was a he talking, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to clarify. Mm-hmm. If you're at a point where you haven't fixed that financial thing and you want the best, but you don't have the job yet, you have to find a finish line. So in your head, you're like, well, in 2 more years after I finish my master's degree, I'll be making X, Y, Z and everything will be fine. Well, in 2 more years, we have a family land that we keep together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So where's the finish line that you're going to start making more money and being able to do those things? If you can't provide that, then she's not going to have any confidence moving forward, and you're going to keep hitting the brick wall. If your idea is, well, I just don't have the money. I've been there before in my life where I'm like, wow, I'm just, you can't, and they're not understanding and they're not willing to sacrifice the lifestyle with you. There's no way to save that. If you're like, hey, you know what, let's start eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and like really watching it and save up. You got to figure out a game plan where at some point, you're going to start making money. Now, here's the other part to the money problem. Do you agree? So for example, even if you had the money, the things that she's spending money on or her ambitions, if they are to go hog wild at the mall every weekend, is that something that you find admirable or good? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if that's not the case, then there is no finish line for you. But if you go, no, I understand where she's coming from. I want to make more money. I want to provide for us. I want to have a family. I want the American dream or whatever you want to call it. Right? Then fine. But if you find it, well, I don't even, after what she said to me or what she's done to me, I don't even really want to take care of her in that way. Well, that's different. So you got to really define the money problem to you and then say, over time, when you say, I think what you're saying is, I want to save this relationship. Well, if you can't fix the problem right away, you have to come up with a solution with a time frame. If you can't present something like that, and even if that's not going to be accepted, well,
same thing's just going to happen.
Same thing's going to happen, but also, how are they going to see that you're going to come out of that? Now, here's the other part of that. Making money and doing well doesn't go well with negativity and someone in a relationship typecasting you as, yeah, you never make money, you're lazy, you always stay at home, oh, you're always on the couch. Like, even if that's true, that's going to just bring you down more. So here's the caveat to the whole situation. Maybe being single, hitting rock bottom, being lonely, being scared actually puts a jet up your ass to start making more money.
Mm-hmm.
So it could work for you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Trucker, have in mind your partner is a separated individual and you have to live your life. You can't save anyone, take care of yourself. Saying that, Sabina, I would say it's admirable that you care. Nice baby grand. Do you play? The official ambassador of the mulatto race. Well, good for you. I like ambassadors.
We're trying to get Max some lessons, so
I'd love to learn the piano. Yes, it was a reason I was directed to this show tonight, Sabina. Absolutely. What brand is the piano? That's a good question. I'm glad I found you, Mac and B. Found. Okay, but what happens if you fall down again with finances and aren't able to provide again? Is this going to be an endless cycle?
Sure. Yeah.
That's a great question, Sam Lujan.
Great question.
And that's, when you're in a relationship and stuff gets tough and the other person can't be understanding or helpful or there for you, I would say what counts is your effort.
Right. Yeah.
So if you can take 2 steps back, one of my favorite things to tell clients now, even when you're doing some things that you look back on that you're like, I wish I didn't do that. A lot of cases, I was doing the best I can with what I knew. If you have to be honest with yourself, you go, with my skills, my talent, my know-how, I'm not doing the best I can. Mm-hmm. Well, then I can know where they're coming from. If you are doing the best you can, then you got to let them go.
And probably both of those things are going to show, like if you're doing the best you can, it's probably going to show to that person.
Well, yeah. And if their expectations of how much money or lifestyle they want to live is different than yours, mm-hmm. then there's always going to be a problem, Sam. Mm-hmm. Sam's a great name. I've always liked that name, Sam. It's multi-sex too. It could be male or female quite easily, huh?
Samantha.
It always reminds me of the Who's the Boss.
Yeah.
You like Who's the Boss?
I love that show.
Alyssa Milano before she was Alyssa Milano, and she was just Sam. Probably nothing is for sure. It depends on life strategy you live. Yeah, I mean, like mm-hmm. was mentioned it was a great question because money's an issue, and people value money differently.
Yeah.
You can be with someone that's really cheap and frugal, and the other person's really loose with money and extravagant. That'll never work. But both of them could be making $100,000. Yeah.
It's just their lifestyle.
I had a past client like this, making really good money, like really good money, right? Mm-hmm. And he got a divorce. He made a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. I'll never forget that story. I was like, that didn't go over well. He goes, no, she didn't like that. He made his Excel spreadsheet of all her spending. Damn. And the thing that got him in the end, I think they were in their late 20s, mm-hmm. and she got like Botox or one of those kinds of things.
Cosmetic, whatever.
Yeah, but it wasn't a surgery, and it was like $1,800. And he was just like, what is this? And she's like, what? You're so cheap. You're this. And you know what? It was never going to work. because some people would value that. Go, oh, hun, no problem. No problem. No one's wrong or right, but you just got to stay and find out your code of conduct. Like there's certain things you're like, no, you're in your 20s and the thing about that, someone getting Botox in their late 20s, that's just a start. That's just a starter kit right there. That's like, you start doing that. I don't have any problem. I know people that got Botox and it looks good. I've known people that got Botox and I'm going, what's wrong with your face?
Pump the brakes. Oh my God.
They're like this. Hey, what's up? What happened to you? Right? There's some dangers in that you can go wrong. But the thing is, you get one Botox, you're going to have to get another one. They're clever salespeople. They'll keep you on file. And then when, because it's going to dampen out. Tony Danza, love that show.
Tony Danza.
Hey, Tony. It was funny because that lady in that show was typecasted. She never made like another movie or anything.
I can't even remember.
Her actress name was Judith Light, I think. I don't know why I know that.
That's
so random.
Knowledge. Wow.
I used to watch Who's the Boss as a little kid. That's an old show, man. It's got to be about 30 years plus.
Yeah.
Facts of Life. You don't know about the Facts of Life.
Facts of Life, no.
All right, folks, I do have another call to make. It's been good. It's been grand. I was glad I was able to help you out, CC Trucker. That was a very good and detailed question. I appreciate it. The $9.99 super chat. Sabina, you're always welcome on. Rye Flint, we missed you yesterday. People were asking on the live stream yesterday, where's Rye Flint? What's going on? We're worried about her. People are talking about putting you on a milk carton.
Multiple people.
They were. Mm-hmm. You're known in the chat now. Mm-hmm. You're known in it. The official ambassador of the mulatto race. Mm-hmm. Good to meet you. Mm-hmm. Don't have a brand on the piano, as you know.
We're going to be on tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
Right? So if CC wants to come on and talk about it, she can more about it.
Yeah.
Can jump on.
Let's see here. And Rob IS. Sleepless in Seattle. All right. Take care. It is curtains.
See you guys.